Our next calculator kind of brings these two first calculators together. And so that is our vector index calculator. And again, if we're unsure what vector index exactly is, go to the website. The vector index is the relative abundance of infected mosquitoes and is a way to quickly estimate the risk of arbovirus transmission in an area. So increases in vector index reflect increased risk of human disease. They're more reliable prediction measures than just abundance or infection rate alone. So vector index is really pulling abundance and infection rate together. So again, here we're going to have similar choices. Let's choose last year. We're going to go half months. We can choose a feature. I'm just going to include a bunch of these so that we get a lot of data. And we're not going to treat them separately. We're just going to see what's happening in all of these combined. Again, you can treat them separately, totally up to you. Our target again here is West Nile. We're going to look in all available species. Sure, why not? Actually, no, I changed my mind. We're going to look at Tarsalis and Pipiens complex again, and we're going to treat these separately. We're going to look at our females, since those are the ones we're testing for infection. For our trap type, we're going to go CO2 trap again. There is a different, excuse me, one other question here. This is trap night restrictions. So our default is to restrict this to traps that were run for a minimum of 1 night and a maximum of 2 nights. We do this because, you know, in some cases there are traps that you're going to run for longer. Some districts do that. But for virus activity, we don't really want a trap that's been sitting out for a long time because we're not going to be able to capture the resolution of that virus in that trap. Minimum 1, maximum 2 is our default. You can play around with that, but this is just so it excludes the traps that have been running for longer than 2 nights. If you don't want to exclude those, you can make this like a crazy high number, 90,000 or whatever that was. Whatever you want that works best for you and your agency. All right, and then from there, we're going to calculate. This one will take a little bit longer because it's combining those first 2 sets of data, so both abundance and infection rates. Great. And so in here, again, a spreadsheet style output, you can download that to run in your own software. What most people would do is to view the graphs here again. And so this is our vector index. So this is per 1,000 mosquitoes. And when you get, you know, you have to divide this number by 1,000. So say you had 500 mosquitoes or a vector index of 500, that is a half a mosquito. So 500 divided by 1,000 is 0.5. That would be half a mosquito per trap night is positive. So another way to think about that is you're going to find 1 infected mosquito for every 2 trap nights in that region. So just make sure you're understanding the scale of what's happening here. So this would be, you know, 0.15 mosquitoes infected per trap night in this half month in these spatial regions for Culex tarsalis. So we can look at what's happening in different years. The scale of this map is always going to scale to what the biggest, the highest number is. So you might wonder, you know, when we just were looking at 2022, why wouldn't it just cut off at 200? Because it's incorporating this 2019 where we had a really high vector index in 2019 in late July, second half of July. And so this vector index can be really helpful for understanding the risk in that area and what decisions to make based on that risk. So again, if you want to export these, you have to screenshot them. You can mouse over and look at specific numbers. You could also download the data and re-graph this if that's something you're interested in, and then you could play around with specific, axes labels and points and whatever you want. But to satisfy the most people, this is our system for now, where you can mouse over, you can hide and show different years, and then you can screenshot to share this, and this can be really helpful for those reports. So that was in Culex tarsalis, and then we have another one for Culex pipiens because we treated them separately in our calculator. So for pipiens in this area, we were seeing higher infection rates in a different year in 2018 in the second half of June, where it was almost half a mosquito positive for West Nile per trap night in this region that we are testing.